If you've ever tried to record your keyboard into a Mac and ended up with crackles, wrong inputs, or a sound that's just not clean, this video will save you a ton of time. Today is a practicality shoutout, not tone, not feel, pure workflow, and how fast can you go from keyboard to a clean recorded track on a Mac. Welcome back to PIANORD. Today is day 5 in the CP88 versus No Piano 5 series, and this one is all about recording workflow. The fastest clean path from keyboard to recorded track on a Mac. Let me say it up front. In this specific category, Yamaha has a real advantage because the Yamaha CP88 has a USB audio built in. Node Piano 5 does not. With Node, you'll need a dedicated audio interface. It's not a deal breaker, it's just the reality of the workflow. I'm going to show you both paths step by steps like it's your first time, because a lot of people overcomplicate this and waste hours. And as you watch, I want you to think about your own setup. Are you trying to record fast demos, full tracks, or just get a clean worship stem? Drop that in the comments because that changes the best workflow. Well, we're measuring today, we're measuring speed, cleanliness, and friction. How many cables, how many settings, how many ways this can go wrong. And then we'll do a quick sanity check recording, and I'll show you how to monitor without making your playing feel laggy. Also, I made you a free one-page cheat sheet for this exact video. It's called Record Studio Clean CP88 to Mac in 10 minutes. The zero stress USB audio setup blueprint plus the Node alternative. It's the exact steps I'm doing on screen with the settings and a troubleshooting flow so you don't get stuck. Link is in the description and pinned comment. Grab it now so you don't have to remember this later. Let's go with the part 1. The part 1 is going to be the CP88 to Mac, a USB audio workflow. This is the simple path. One cable. Mac sees it as an audio device instantly and you start recording. And this is the cable. So it's a USB-B to USB-C in my case. But it can be USB-B to USB-A as well. It works both ways. But it's straightforward. Mine, it's a USB-B to USB-C. Because of my Mac, it only has USB-C ports. The CP88 USB to host into the Mac. So you have the USB to host port in the CP88 and you connect it to your Mac, any of your Mac ports, USB ports, and that's it. Now on the Mac, the first thing I do is confirm the Mac actually sees the CP88 as an audio device. You'll get a pop-up message and it will ask you if you want to use the CP88 and you say yes, allow. And then if you have any audio application open, I had GarageBand automatically detects the interface and says, would you like me to use that as an input device, as a source? And I said yes, and then I can start recording. On the screen now you should see the record screen of my Mac where I show you the CP88 as a device. The sample rate is 44.1K, so you need to make sure you set your sample rate to that one. That's what the USB interface in the CP88 supports. So your project needs to match. If you are sitting in 48, you will wonder why settings feel weird. This is the reason. Make sure you change to 44.1. I'm showing you the Mac OS sound settings. We'll just set the input to CP88 and you can set the output to what it used to be if you want to hear it there, or you can set it the output to the CP88 for easy monitoring options, and the output, what you are playing on the laptop, it will now come through your headphones or through the CP88. Monitoring tip: if you want the simplest setup, set your Mac output to the CP88 too and plug the headphones into the CP88. Now you hear the keyboard and the Mac through one single place. On the CP88, if you go to menu general USB audio volume, you can tune and set your volume from the Mac, and you can adjust your Mac audio coming into the CP88. So that USB audio volume settings within the general settings of the CP88 from the menu is for the audio coming from the Mac into CP88, so that's controllable as well. Handy if the Mac playbook is too loud or too quiet in your headphones. I found it with the default settings, it was just fine. So, but you have that available, you have that option if you want to tune it even more. You can do this as well in the Logic Pro because it's the most common Mac workflow. The same concept applies to any DAW. You just go to audio settings, you set the input device to CP88, confirm project sample rate to 44.1K, create stereo audio track input 1 and 2, and you're good to go. I'm creating a stereo audio track input 1 and 2 for any applications that I have, and then you just click record, and then you have the monitoring on. That's it, you start recording. Another level tip, you don't need it slammed. Aim for healthy peaks and leave headroom. Clean and consistent beats, loud and clipped every single time. Another aspect is the latency. The one thing that can ruin the experience, you feel a slight delay when you play, that is due to the buffer size. Lower buffer equals lower latency, but your Mac works harder. So depending on your version of chip and also the generation of your Mac, you might need to play with that to find the sweet spot. You go to the buffer settings, you can set it to 1 to 8 for a good starting point, and then check the 64 if you need to change to that one, and higher if it cracks. So if crackles, check the buffer settings, and that's what you need to find the sweet spot depending on your hardware, depending on your Mac capabilities, processing power. If you get crackles, go up. If it feels laggy, you go down. And if you want absolute best low latency, that's where a dedicated audio interface often wins. Which brings us to Nord. Nord Piano 5 or Nord Stage, or any Nord actually, to Mac recording, the clean workflow, you will need a dedicated audio interface. So the Nord Piano 5 does not send audio over the USB. USB is for MIDI only. For audio, you will need a dedicated audio interface. The good news is it's still simple. It's just more pieces. Nord outs into the audio interface inputs, interface USB into the Mac, headphones into the interface, or you can also use it headphones in the Nord by suggesting the interface so you can feel the level. On any audio interface, you'll have the gain knobs. This is where people mess it up. They either use the wrong cable, or they set the gain too hot, or they monitor into places and they get weird doubling. Set interface input gain to the level that brings the signal into the sweet spot of your audio interface. The same logic applies that I've described earlier. You will have an input device in your Logic Pro, in your software GarageBand, in your DAW application. Just make sure the input device is set to your USB interface, not the Nord, because there's not going to be any Nord in there. In Logic Pro, your input device is now the interface, the record. You record the stereo track the same way. The only difference now, you're capturing the Nord's analog outputs instead of the digital USB audio, which was the case for the CP88. In a real-world comparison, let's call it what it is. The CP88 wins on speed because it's one cable and you're done. Nord requires an additional interface. And guess what? You need to buy also 2 audio cables. Plus you need to do the gain staging and do some tests. But here's the honest nuance. If you already own a good interface, Nord workflow is not hard. It's just more gear. And that gear might serve you anyway. Microphones, vocals, guitars, and all of that. Please mind, if you connect the microphone to the CP88 and you're thinking you are going to be able to record through the USB interface from the CP88, that's not supported. So only the piano will come through that to your Mac. Cleanliness and quality, what actually matters. Now let's talk quality, because people hear USB audio and assume it's automatically better. It's not magic. is just the clean direct signal path. CP88 USB audio is stereo at 44.1 kilo. That's totally fine for recording keys. The limitation is flexible, fixed rate, 2 channels, no mic preamps, no routing tricks. It's built to be simple and reliable. With Node Plus an interface, your quality depends on the interface. A good interface will give you great converters, stable drivers, and the lowest latency monitoring. The practical verdict and the buying takeaway. So your goal is this: you have a Mac, you want the fastest clean recording of your playing. No extra gear, CP88 is the easy win. If your goal is a studio workflow where you record keys plus vocal plus other instruments, then you probably need an interface anyway, and the Node workflow becomes normal. What kind of musician life you have? If you want my exact settings, the one-page blueprint, and the troubleshooting flow so you don't get stuck on day one, grab the free PDF, Record Studio Clean CP88 to Mac in 10 minutes, the zero stress USB audio setup blueprint plus Node alternative. It's all in the description of the video and the pinned comment. And if you want deeper help, templates, and the no drama setup path for worship and gigging rigs, PIANORD Academy is where I'm putting the full system together. The email list is where founding access opens first, so the blueprint is the easiest way to get in. Now tell me this: are you recording mostly for worship tracks, gigs, or just quick demos? And what DAW are you using on your Mac? Logic, GarageBand, Ableton, something else? I'll tailor the next workflow video based on what you say. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.